Beautiful October. Nice 84 degrees out here in South Georgia. We're heading into the woods. I'm heading into the woods. I'm down here by myself right now. My cousin and his boss are coming in with Georgia's got a early antlerless rifle season this weekend. So they are coming to capitalize on that. I'm bow hunting. I am bow hunting tonight a monster of a buck. I'll put him on screen here if this becomes a video. Just probably the biggest buck on the farm. He's got to be the biggest buck on the farm. He was a massive mainframe 10 last year. I'll put those pictures up here too, so you can see what he looked like last year. This year he has damaged his left side while in velvet. I think either that or he's got a skull plate fracture from fighting last year, because he did show up later in the season with a busted G2, or not even a season, it was like the end of January after season had gone out. So showed up with that busted G2 this year. That same side that had the G2 busted off is just a mess. One really tall brow tine and then some swoopy crazy crap that comes off the side. But he is still huge, still be absolutely beside myself to put an arrow through him. It would be by far the biggest bow deer, and honestly, even with the messed up side, the biggest deer, period, rifle, bow, whatever, that I've ever had the chance to hunt. Last night was the first night he showed up. He showed up after dark, 10 o'clock, fed in this spot until like 4:30 this morning. Now you might be thinking, why are you going in after that deer? He was only in there in dark. He's not there, blah, blah, blah. Well, last year when he showed up, he did the same thing. He came in middle of the night, 10 p.m. to 4 a.m., somewhere in there. And then for the next 3 or 4 evenings, while I wasn't able to be here, obviously, he was daylighting in this spot right at the last 30 minutes of daylight, like clockwork. He disappeared for a little while, was sporadic. I'd have him 1 or 2 nights here and there. And then the end of January, he was back pretty regularly. So I'm hoping he's going to repeat that pattern tonight, to where he was in here, you know, for that 6 hours overnight last night. Now he knows that he's got something good he likes to eat right there. He'll come back in that in shooting light. Wind is okay for this spot, but I think I can set up on the edge of this tree line to where the majority of my scent will carry back out into the field I'm driving into to access. Thermals kind of suck. It is what it is. I've done my best to do some scent control, you know, pine branches stored with my clothes. I've got Evercalm washed in, you know, the scent killer stuff. Who knows if it actually works or not, but it can't hurt, right? So I'm prepared. It's early for this time of the year. It's 3 o'clock, so I'll be in the woods probably about 5 hours, and that's good. I want to get in here early, get set up, get quiet. There was a doe and a yearling on this camera feeding about 2 o'clock, so I got to be real careful that I'm getting in there clean and quiet and getting set up quiet, so we don't spook them out and have them blowing up the woods around us. So I'll check in once I'm up in the tree, kind of give you an overview of the setup, and hopefully we can make this happen tonight. All right, I'm set up in my tree for the evening. Looking around from up here, there's been a couple of scrapes opened up in this area. This spot is just notorious for having big mature bucks and holding big mature bucks. There's creek down through the woods. It's a good mix of hardwood and pine. Big field back behind me that historically has been planted with cotton. It's not planted with anything this year. It's just weeds, taller than I am. Really fun to walk through, especially when it's hot and there's bugs. You can kind of see how warm it is out here right now. So I'm sitting here, get cooled off. Hopefully this big boy is still in here and he comes out in the daytime and wants to play. Well, it was an eventful hunt last night. I filmed a few deer, saw I think 20 in total, a few different bucks, a pile of does. We need to kill does on this farm in a bad way. Big boy was a no-show. Looked at the trail cameras this morning. He was back in there at 5:30 this morning. I think he's bedding close, but I don't think he's gonna move in the daylight right now. And I'm gonna go sit somewhere else this evening and hunt a buck that's much smaller rack wise. I think he's 4.5 years old. Picture here. He daylighted yesterday. He was out there at 6:30 while I was in the other tree hunting that really big deer. So I'm gonna go sit on this other deer this afternoon, and likely what's gonna happen is he will be a no-show and the big one will daylight, and because that's just kind of how it goes. So I may change my mind by the time it gets here. It's 11 o'clock right now. I'm going to get the guys at camp some lunch. We're gonna sit around and BS for a while. I'm gonna shoot my bow a couple times just to make sure, and yeah, I'll check back in when I'm headed to the stand. Saturday, October 4th, sorry. We hunted that big deer last night. I hunted that big deer last night. Saw a pile of deer, probably about 20 different deer. Had them all around me all evening. Just never did have that big one to look out. He was back in that spot that I hunted at 5:30 this morning. I've decided that he's probably going to be nocturnal until we get closer to the pre-rut situation. That being said, he'll be standing broadside of that camera, and, you know, with an hour of daylight left while I'm over here in this spot. But this spot, I mentioned earlier that I've got a couple of bucks that I would shoot in here, especially with my bow. One of them was here at 6:30 yesterday, which is about an hour and a half before dark. So he was killable. He's not a huge rack buck. He's not anything to, you know, not a huge buck, but he's got good mass. Nice tall rack, and I believe he's about 4.5 years old. Just comparing to other bucks in the area that we know what they look like when they're, you know, 2.5, 3.5. This deer looks like he's about 4.5. He's on the mature side of things, and there's another one that's bigger than him, but I have not seen that deer in daylight on the camera. So I'm set up a pine tree here. We're at a head of pines. There is cotton over this way. There's a pond over this way. More cotton back there. And there's a swampy area down the end of this, and then there's a big CRP patch that edges up to these pines on this side. So this is just an awesome funnel that a whole lot of deer use, a whole lot of critters use. There's hogs on. Haven't seen any hogs on the camera, thankfully, but we know there are hogs on the property. And it has just started to rain a little bit, and it wasn't supposed to do that, so hopefully this doesn't turn into a downpour. That would be unfortunate, but it is raining a little, so I'm gonna put this phone away. I'm gonna put this camera away. And, hopefully we'll be able to hunt this afternoon, this evening, without getting soaked. perfect shot. She's right under me, just about, probably 10 yards. So high shoulder, she turned and ran. I saw the exit wound just behind the crease on her left-hand side, and she was leaking, and I heard her crash right out of here. So she's down. We got one down early. Let's see if we can double up and put a buck on the tailgate with her tonight. That'd be pretty cool. So, all right, I'll check back in. Well, it's just about 5:30, and it started raining out of nowhere. No rain on the forecast. Just a little pop-up shower, it looks like, on the radar. So, I'll sit through this for a minute. Hopefully, it doesn't get much worse than this. But this should stand some deer up on their feet, even though they were already up on their feet. I did kill that doe about an hour and a half ago. So. We'll see. Hopefully one of these bucks moves through.
start snorting blood. He's done. He's done. Oh my God. Oh my God. He's dead right there. He's dead right in there. I just shot that huge 8 with the sticker. And this guy right here is not even phased. Holy crap. I think he's dead right in there.
A big tall 8. He hasn't been on this camera in daylight. Hell, he wouldn't have been on the camera at night. He didn't even go to where the camera is. He skirted around the edge. Basically the same way this doe came through. I mean, right at 20 yards right here. And I drilled him. He ran out this trail. And I think he's dead back behind me. I didn't hear him leave. He sat there and wheezed for a minute. And I think he laid down and died. Big tall 8 with a sticker. Oldest deer on this tract, I think. Or oldest one we've seen so far. The one I wanted to shoot tonight. The one that's what I couldn't have drawn it up better. That's insane. I got a doe down, 4 o'clock. He's down, it's like 7:15. Plenty of shooting light left. There's a young 8 that's been hanging out around me. Heck, he's still out here looking at me. Like, what is this guy doing? But October the 4th, South Georgia. Doesn't get any better than that. Wow. Pardon my heaving. She was buried in the thick stuff. Whoo! There he is. There he is. Oh yeah. Oh yeah. Look at that. Golly. Look at him. Ain't nothing wrong with that. Good mature pine dwelling South Georgia buck. Yes sir, buddy. Well, let's get him out of here. Look at that deer. That is my biggest archery buck to date. He is 4.5, maybe 5.5 years old, just based on his body compared to other deer in the area we know the age of. Not gonna break any records, but he sure broke my record. I hope this phone recording is picking up well. Using my truck headlights as lighting. I've had this deer on camera for a week now. I just got a camera over here. I've never hunted this property. It's about 20 minutes away from the main farm we hunt. And I've known about it. I wanted to scout, so I came, I scouted it, found a bunch of good historical sign. About last weekend actually. Put a little bit of feed out, just enough to entice their interest and get in front of that camera, and he showed up. He's only been nocturnal, but I rattled about 6:45, and I think about 7 a little smaller 8 came into it, and he milled around for a while. As a matter of fact, he sat under me for 10 minutes after I shot this buck. And then this guy, I saw him lurking. He was looking. He wouldn't commit to coming in, but he was edging around me, and he walked about right where the doe was that I shot. Honestly, those arrows were about laying on top of each other. So 2 good deer tonight. The doe's already loaded in the back. This is killer. It's going to be really hard for me to top this year, and yeah, I'm gonna try to get them loaded in the truck. I may have to get them to come help me, but we're gonna see if I can do this myself.